Let us start with the WPT part now. Plato is actually supposed to be, it's said that the entire Western philosophy is a footprint of Plato. Okay, you can support Plato or you can not support Plato. You cannot ignore Plato. You can be Platonian, you can be unplatonian, you cannot be no Platonian, non-Platonian. Okay, so he has influenced it so much he has written, so much he studied constitutions of more than 100 countries of that time, and he was in 6th century BC. 6th century BC, that same time we had Buddha and Mahavira here. So I told you, when God sends wise people, he sends them everywhere because the time that the era needs them. So when we had Buddha and Mahavira in India, we had Plato and Socrates and Aristotle's in Greece. Two cradles of civilization, ancient civilization, India and Greece. Of course, Romans are also connected with them. Not in the present form as we know it, not in the present form, the constitution, but then there was some sacrosanct law which was called as constitution. Constitution is a relatively new term, but we can fit that sacred text, the sacred legal text in the same definition, right? So Plato has called upon so many things, and Vedas are beyond constitutions. Vedas, you again, don't get me started on Vedas. They are beyond normal human comprehension. Okay, you listen to what Schopenhauer has written, you listen to what the Western Indologists have written about Vedas, you will realize what we are talking about. You listen to our very own Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, what he says on Veda. So you have pen and paper, I want you to write few lines. Certain lines I want to you to write, maybe a page. Okay, all of you have, or someone wants to get it. Plato is ancient Greek thinker. Plato is the ancient Greek thinker who continues to have. Plato is the ancient Greek thinker who continues to have significant influence. Who continues to have significant influence on entire Western philosophy. Who continues to have significant influence on entire Western philosophy. He founded the first university. He founded the first university called academic, ACADE, academy actually, academy, 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 and the function of academy, and the function of academy was, and the function of academy was to teach, teach political leaders philosophical truths. Function of academy was to teach political leaders philosophical truth. Plato attempted Plato attempted to Plato attempted to teach philosophy to unworthy rulers. Plato attempted to teach philosophy to unworthy rulers with an unending belief, with an unending belief, with an unending belief that politics can be reformed with truth. Politics can be reformed with truth. One small paragraph, that's it. Now try to understand what I just said, and now I'll start the slides. That Plato wanted people to study philosophy. Okay, philosopher king. Now why so, that we shall see. And all his life he attempted that emperors, the ruling class, must learn and master philosophy, so that they will become good kings. But they were tyrants. They were unworthy rulers, the monarchs. So they were not at all affected by his concern. And he had this unending belief that if I teach them, then Athens is where he used to live. Now I'll start the slide so you'll understand it better. Wise old man. So see what he's saying now. He belongs to ancient Greece. First point we saw. And he saw a time when he was there, 5th century to 4th century BC. Glory of Athens, where he used to live, it declined. Athens was at war with other neighboring countries, as was the main norm at that time, because kings used to glorify the wars and through which they could increase their influence, assert their influence. So Athens was defeated in war, and Athens, which was earlier known as a very glorious kingdom, was like a shadow of its glorious past. So that was concerned, that was of very much concern to Plato. So his main concern was to get the glory of Athens back. How to get the glory of Athens back? See, again, how situation affects a thinker. witnessing from glory days to a shadow of the past, right? So concern, because he's a philosopher, he's an intelligent person, he's a deep-rooted thinker, he's an intelligent man. So the concern is that me being what I am, he's revered among his peers and society and kingdom also. So whatever ingredients a person has, he thinks about it. He utilizes his skills and rational faculties of mind to do something good for where he's living, to bring some glory. So he says that I want to bring the glorious days of Athens back, what it was and what it has become after all these numerous wars. How to do that? And we'll make it an ideal state. Okay, better than anyone, better than Sparta and anything, Babylon and anything. So what he says, what are the features of a perfect state? Features of perfect state, because I want to make Athens perfect state. So what should be there in a perfect state? What are the characteristics? What are the traits, the features that should be present in perfect state? First, let me explore those features so that I can uh, uh, bring them in my own country, Athens. Correct? No issues here. The problem of Plato you all can identify with, right? Corruption is the biggest problem, even during Plato's time. It happens, how does corruption happen? When public office is used for private purpose and when officials do what they are not supposed to do. So he says that this corruption, root cause, you see corruption everywhere. Uh, how many of you think that corruption is the biggest problem of India? I think almost all of you, right? Okay, one of many, but it is a big problem, right? So Plato says that corruption is the biggest problem of Athens. Yeah, it's a major problem. No denying this fact. So how does it happen when public office is used for private purpose? You have access to public resource, the government resources, and you are using it for your own gain. That is again a form of corruption. Correct? Even the current the office of CVC, that is Central Vigilance Commissioner, it also recognizes this fact that if you use uh, office vehicle for your personal purpose, that's a form of corruption. CVC says this. Now, and when officials engage in acts, government officials engage in such acts which they are not supposed to engage in, then it's a case of corruption. Right? Two very crystal clear points, and he is very rightly making these points. Ignorance is the cause of corruption. Now, how many think that ignorance is the cause of corruption? We don't think so. We don't think like Plato that ignorance, because he's a philosopher, we are normal people, that ignorance is the cause of corruption. So ignorance about what? Ignorance about the good quality of life. So if you say that good quality of life should have, uh, what is an concept of good life in India? Concept of good life in India currently is that you have a very good job. First, a degree that can sell, right? Whether you understand anything from your college or what degree you have done is secondary. A degree that can sell in the corporate. Second thing, you get a decent job. Then marry someone who is having the same or better status, something like that. Okay. Then have a start a family, have all the luxuries, not necessities. There has never been an issue with necessity. Issues are with luxury. Okay, lakhs of rupees in your account, maybe crores, a big car, a luxurious flat, ornaments, jewelries, everything. So these are considered to be ideal conditions. Holidays, you go abroad, update your Instagram with cringe-worthy hashtags. Okay, some people are roaming around because they want to update their social media, not because they love roaming, because everyone is doing. So this is considered to be ideal life in India for a middle class person or upper middle class person. So this is what Plato says, that this is ignorance, because you think like this, that good life should have all these things. Okay, because you think that good qualities should have all these things. That's why you are an ignorant fool. Is what now at those times concept of luxury and material good was different. We are talking about 500, 400 years before the birth of Christ in Greece. So certainly things have changed majorly. But then the idea, the essence is same, that you need to have some material possession in order to lead a good life. Correct. Actually, there is no end to material possession. You have a car, then you think I need to have a BMW. Then you will say I'll need to have a chopper. You have a flat, you want 3 BHK to 4 BHK, and then you will say, I want a resort, I want a koti, a big haveli. So there is no end to greed. So that's why Plato also says that ignorance is the cause, and ignorance regarding meaning of a good life. Like I told you, if you go after material pursuit, where will you stop? Where will you stop? Then you will say that I want Antila like building. Mukesh Ambani has built Antila. I want that. So there is no end to it. So this is all ignorance. Ignorance regarding meaning of a good life. Ruling class has no knowledge about it. Kings, the prince, the queens, the nobles, all these royal nobles and the king, the monarch himself is having no knowledge what they are supposed to do. All are busy in material pursuit. They are ignorant people. They want to eat good, wear good, and experience good. That's not how life is to be led, especially for the ruling class. So that's what he said, that because corruption, why do people want to earn money through illegitimate means? No one engages in corruption for charity, right? No one engages in acts of corruption because of charity. Because you have your own greed and your legitimate income cannot take care of it. That's why, okay, you start printing money, and then when they find the CBI is after you, ED is after you, then CBI is jumping the boundary of your house, and it is being telecasted live, and then you are getting caught. So this is what Plato also says, that ruling class is ignorant about its responsibilities, about meaning of a good life, and are running after money. See, eternal lines. So they don't know what their responsibilities are. You are the king. You need to make your subjects, the people whom you are ruling, their life needs to be better, and you need to make efforts for that. Meaning of a good life you don't know, and you all are running after money and material pursuit. So until philosophers become rulers, this is where philosopher king will come, or rulers learn philosophy, there is no end to predicament of human role. This is what Plato tells us. Predicament means that the tyranny that you have to suffer. Okay, no end to suffering of human. So see how the philosopher king concept comes. Again, backward linkage is needed here, what we have studied. Let us do that. Athens has almost fallen. Something which was a very developed thing, and now it is become something like sub-Saharan country, USA to sub-Saharan. So of course it's a shadow of its past, glorious past. Plato is concerned, being a philosopher and being a very sharp and intelligent and deep intellectual, he is concerned. And then he comes up with the theory that corruption is the root cause, and people will engage in acts of corruption because people are ignorant and foolish. Why? Because they want a good life. How do you define a good life? Money and material benefits, material possession. You all agree to this? Money and material benefit, material possession. So what to do now? What is to be done now? What you can do now is, so what can you do now? All you can do now is to remove the ignorance of people. Okay. And as we can see in the last slide, ignorance regarding rule and ruling class is also ignorant. So let us make these ignorant people wise people. Let us enlighten the ignorant. How do you enlighten the ignorant? How do you teach a person true meaning of life? Philosophy, right? Philosophy is needed here. So philosophers need to be kings, or kings need to learn philosophy. Only then they will realize what is the meaning of a good life, not the material pursuit and earning more and more money through legitimate and illegitimate means. The good life is something which philosophy will tell you. Else, suffering of human will not stop. This is his statement. So if you get a question, this can be a 10-mark question, this statement. The first question is about statement only. Your first question in your optional is about comment on the following. 150 or 200 words, 10-mark question, 4 questions they ask, and you have to attempt all. And usually philosophers, such statements are given. Until philosophers become rulers, or rulers turn philosophy. This so I have added, so was not there. So just to make you understand, don't worry about it. So until philosopher, how will you start this? I'll tell you how will you start this. You will start ancient Greek philosopher Plato. This should be your first line. Was born in Athens, and he was concerned with the downfall of Athens from its heydays. See, why such introduction? Because the examiner who is checking your copy will get the impression, oh, this person knows where he was from and why he was concerned. you are making a good impression in the first line. Okay, so write like this: ancient Greek, and then you come that he thinks that material gains have led to the pursuit for material gains have led to all these things. Corruption is happening. Corruption has brought Athens to such a nasty state of affairs, and corruption is happening because people are ignorant. Because how they are ignorant? Because they don't know what is good life, and how will they learn about good life when they will learn philosophy? So here it is. Do you need to cram anything here? Do you need to ratto anything? Ratna hai kuch? Last class someone was saying ratna hai. Kahan ratna hai? Batao. How about making a flowchart of what I said? Can you do that? Here statements are written so that you can revise. But how will you revise when you understand things? Make flowcharts. 4 to 5 words, one arrow. Again, flowchart pata hai na sabko? This statement you make flowcharts and share with me on Telegram or in group or on Telegram, okay? And next time someone tells you that you have to cram a lot in political science, just laugh it out. LOL, okay? These are the books that he wrote: Republica, Statesman, and the Laws. Famous works of Plato. Republica, his chela Aristotle will write Politica. So Republica actually means republic, Politica means politics, Statesman, and the Laws are the books that he wrote. You can even say that his famous works are like, wait, 2 lines, and you are giving a character sketch of the thinker, which will leave a good impression. Then you change the paragraph. 10 mark questions, 150 to 200 words, not more than 2 paragraphs. Avoid the third para and never start the fourth para. Avoid third para and never start the fourth para. 2 paragraphs more than sufficient. Okay. Now you see, these were the people who influenced him. Heraclitus, Pythagoras, you have learned Pythagoras theorem. Parmenides, Socrates, he had major influence. He was a guru actually. He was the guru's guru. A very proficient thinker. Mahaguru you can call him. Okay. Socrates was a great guru. Okay. So he had a major influence on Plato. A very big influence on Plato. Now he comes with a theory of soul. What he comes up with? Theory of soul. There are 2 parts of a person's personality: physical and spiritual. Now, physical is how you are described, that this is your height, this is your length, this is your breadth, okay, this is your width, 56 inch, this is your mass, this is how you look, this is the color of your skin, the color of your hair, so on and so forth. This is your physical appearance of your personality. Now there is a spiritual personality as well, the soul. The soul, what spiritual level you are, what spiritual level you are at is measured by your soul. Soul is permanent body, permanent part. Body will decay. Even Bhagavad Gita says this: nanam chadrani shastrani na dahati, right? That body will decay. Howsoever strong you make it, howsoever V-shaped and six-pack abs you flaunt, one day you will lose everything. Soul is permanent. So Plato also see, it is said, I'll tell you a story, not confirmed, but some very authentic sources have said this. No, don't read this. There's this masterpiece by Frank Thilly, A History of Western Philosophy by Frank Thilly. Don't read that. Anyways, you will not understand it. So it is supposed to be a very excellent commentary on Western philosophy. So he says that Pythagoras came to India. Now again, I told you Thilly says, and Thilly is quoting some very authentic sources, that Pythagoras came to India. So don't you see, soul is permanent, body will decay, spiritual well-being. Ye sab thought, where are these thought processes coming from? This is the ancient wisdom. So he came to India and he learned these things from Indian sages and seers and Vedic and Upanishadic and Buddhist and Jain influence. So he went back and he, of course, Plato, he had this influence on Plato. So there he says that Plato was influenced by these things. Again, you can give a passing reference, but then you will not have such scope in 250 words or 150 words or even 200 words. So just for knowing, because something very familiar with appears here, that soul is permanent part, body decays. He says focus on the well-being of the soul. So when body decays fully, when you are dead and your body is either cremated or you are buried, then soul travels to the kingdom of God and again takes birth. This is what Lord Krishna told Arjuna in Gita, right? Plagiarism, plagiarism. Uh, uh, so dig a bit and you find Indianness there. I'm not sure if Varahamihira was a Greek or not, but there are references where his Indianness is proved. Okay. So soul body will decay. That is what the shloka I told you. Nanam Chhadrani Shastrani na dahati pavaka. The fire cannot burn it, water cannot make it wet. Okay, that's about soul, not about body. Fire and water can, of course, make impact on body. So it will there. Soul will go to the kingdom of God, and then it will again take birth. Now he does not say as per your karma, which Gita says and Indian philosophy says. So Plato will say that same thing. Actually, Socrates taught him these things. Pythagoras consolidated these things on him. Right? Now, every soul has three elements. Again, it's very similar. Can you tell me the Indian counterpart of these three elements? Anyone who can. Courage, reason, and appetite. Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. Ask anyone who is religious in your family or friend circle, and he or she will tell you what is Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. Courage, reason, appetite is how he categorizes. People in whom reason dominates are men of gold. Reason dominates, gold standard. In whom courage dominates are men of silver, one rank lower. And whom appetite, book, dominates are men of copper, lowest. So he has classified people into classes on the basis of the quality of the soul, right? Not on the basis of the body quality, that you are short or tall, or you are handsome, or you are ugly, or you are what your facial features are, what is the color of skin or hair or any other features. He is not clear. How he classifies on the basis of your soul quality, and what he says that these are the three things. Theory of soul you need to remember, because this question can be asked. And again, if this question is asked, the first paragraph, 2-3 lines would be same. Okay, 2-3 lines would be same. Then you will name his gurus. Name all these people. Plato was influenced by these people, and mostly before Socrates, you like mostly by Socrates. And then this is what he thinks about theory of soul. And then good. No marks will be cut here. Soul is permanent part, body decays, and this we have seen already. So he has classified people on the basis of the quality of soul. Now, theory of knowledge. He considers teaching imparted by sophists. Now we have to learn about Socrates also here, because Socrates will be very just. Socrates will be having a big influence on Plato here, right? So he says that theory of knowledge of Plato is actually originally it was formulated and then carried forward by Plato. So he says sophists. Sophists, you understand? Sadhu Baba, wise people, gurus, right? They are imparting teaching, and they are imparting these teachings which is against the state, against the interest of the state. Now, why is he saying so? Sophists are imparting knowledge to people, okay, but it is going against the interest of the state. Why so? Because sophists teach art of coming to power and project power as means for material pleasure. They are teaching statecraft, they are teaching how to acquire power, how to defeat your enemy in war, okay, how to make a formidable army, so on and so forth, giving all the knowledge of warfare and all the wisdom that Greece has and the Sparta and Athens have. So they are again making people pursue the pursuit of power, not happiness. Yes, something like that. And he also says that they are charging money for it. They are charging money for it, and because they are charging money, they are not telling truth. They are telling people what they want to hear. Okay. Now, if it's a real guru, will he say something which makes his disciples happy, or he will point at the shortcomings? Tell me. What would a good teacher do? Sing Pian's love songs for you, or tell you where you are supposed to act, what your weaknesses are, point out the shortcomings, right? So this is what Socrates is saying, that you people can never point out the shortcomings because you are charging money, and that is why you are saying only those things which they want to hear. Correct? They want to hear good things about themselves. That is why you are saying these things. It's there on the next part. Yeah. They are not doing justice to their profession. They are not doing justice to their profession. They are telling people what they want to hear because they are being paid for that. If you tell truth, maybe they will kick you out and will bring some other teacher who will praise them. So will a person learn if the teacher keeps praising? Teacher, I am one. Uh, I certainly believe that teachers should not be status quoist. टीचर ना स्टूडेंट को थोड़ा मतलब इसको सोचने पे मजबूर करे. Make student contemplate on certain things. I never give you the answer. I tell you the source from where you can find the answer. Of course, when I am done with all these things, after teaching you, after making you aware of the concept. So tell people not what they want to hear. Point at their shortcomings if you are a good teacher. And these sophists are not doing that. They are harming the interest of the state because these people will be surrounded by yes men, and it will harm Athens in long run. Any question till here? Okay. Change the pen and write something. It's not on the slides. I'll tell you. Are we ready? Title you write justice. Plato's idea of justice. No. Plato guru is Socrates, and Plato is guru of Aristotle, and Aristotle is guru of Alexander. No, Plato came up with philosopher king. He could not make one philosopher king. He could not make a philosopher king the way he wanted, but he gave the concept that we are coming at. That we will see now. First, need to understand what the aim of the philosophy of Plato is. How he thinks that philosopher king is needed, because there is a certain function that philosophers are supposed to perform. First, we saw the quality of soul, corruption. What is the take of Plato on corruption regarding quality of life? And then what are his views on sophists? Now, what is justice? Because philosopher king has to do justice. So justice, Plato's idea of justice, you write. Nalanda or Takshila. I need to check this. I don't remember the exact era. I can tell you when Takshila and Nalanda were destroyed, but exact year when they were formed, before Nalanda might be younger, but Takshila and Vikramshila were Nalanda was formed by Sri Gupta, then it is 4th century CE. But Takshila and Vikramshila are very. Chanakya was a student of Takshila University, the most famous alumnus. So, right, justice is, maybe I'll check it. I don't remember the dates. Justice is a functional specialization, and it involves not interfering. It involves justice is a functional specialization, and it involves not interfering. See, it's a functional specialization, which means I can teach political science, Bhushan ji can teach geography, Neeraj ji can teach economics. So what is justice? That I stick with political science, Neeraj ji sticks with economics, and Bhushan ji sticks with geography. Not interfering in each other's task. So this is what justice is, not interfering in each other's tasks, because it's a functional specialization. The one who performs that function is to be a specialist. Not everyone can do everything. Okay. According to Plato, right? According to Plato, you understood why justice is a functional specialization? According to Plato, idea of justice is the ultimate idea. Idea of justice is the ultimate idea because it is based on God's idea. It is based on God's idea of justice. Change the paragraph. Now we need to understand why functional specialization was advocated by Plato, to the extent that he compares it with idea of God, idea of justice. Why so? Likho, change the paragraph. That a person will perform that task A person will perform a task. What you wrote? A person will perform a task or the task, both ways, for which he is best suited. For which he is best suited, right? So if someone is teaching a particular subject, over a period of time, the person will read all the available work on that subject. So he will become a super master of the subject. Functional specialization, correct? See it this way: if you want to have knowledge of anything, in that particular thing, you are not venturing into other things. So what will you do? You will gain more knowledge of that respective domain, and gradually, as time passes, you will become a master of that very thing, and you will achieve your optimum, right? There is nothing in that subject or in that domain or that discipline that you are not knowing, not understanding, not able to comprehend or unaware of, correct? So write this. What was the last line? Please someone repeat it or write it. And then he can achieve excellence, and then he can achieve excellence in that field. When everyone, after full stop, when everyone attains excellence, when everyone attains excellence, then what will happen then? Tell me, what would happen? What are we discussing? How to bring glory to Athens, right? He was concerned with the state of affairs in Athens. So when that thing will be established, perfect state will come. Then perfect state will be achieved, or will be formed, or will be established. Perfect state will be established. I don't think there is any doubt here. Or is there a doubt? Yeah, Sri Gupta and Ghatotkacha were actually fiduciaries of Kushans. It is Chandragupta who founded the Gupta Empire. That's why I wondered when you said, that's why I did not confirm it. I said I'll check it. Sri Gupta is the founder of Gupta dynasty. Listen, Sri Gupta is the founder of Gupta dynasty. Chandragupta is the founder of Gupta Empire. There is a difference between dynasty and empire. And Sri Gupta and his son Ghatotkacha were actually fiduciaries of Kushans. So how can they establish universities is what I thought. That's why I said I'll check it. No, Sarath, this is Plato's idea. This is not a general definition. We are talking about what Plato said. We are dealing with specifics here, Plato's specifics. Okay, Vishnu, don't search now who was Sri Gupta, and you will study these things somewhere else. Ancient history. Something like division of labor. So he wants to make Athens a perfect state. How to do that? Here are the steps. Okay. Now, there is another term used. What is God's idea of justice? See, I'll take some time to finish Plato and Aristotle. I cannot finish it in one class because these are the founding fathers. Entire Western philosophy is a footnote of Plato and Aristotle. You cannot ignore Plato. So please let us go into all the details. Questions have been asked from all these aspects that I'm talking to you. So that's why I'm saying once we are done with Plato, then you see the questions that they have asked in main exam regarding Plato, and see if there is anything that we have missed. And you have to understand, you cannot. He's a complicated creature. Someone who is still continuing to have such an influence in entire Western philosophy. You see, Descartes is there, Leibniz is there, Spinoza is there, Bertrand Russell, Wittgenstein. So no, all of them succumb to Plato. So we need detailed discussion on Plato for sure. And each and everything we will analyze it. We'll break it into small parts and then we'll analyze. So just now you see what is perfect state, soul, philosopher king. Philosopher king we have not even seen, but the necessity for philosopher king we have seen. Now we have used the term God's idea of justice. Write that. God's idea of justice. To comprehend God's idea of justice, qualities of soul have to be understood. Not God's soul, human soul. Three categories we have already seen: reason, courage, and appetite. So qualities of soul have to be understood. A just man, judicious man or a just man, you can write either of them. Prefer just man. A just man would prefer to live in peace and harmony with others. To live in peace and harmony with others. For a just soul, reason. Reason was having which kind of soul? People who are dominated by reason, we just saw a few minutes back. Gold standard, right? Courage was silver and appetite was copper. So for a just soul, reason. So if reason dominates, reason will control the other two traits, courage and appetite. So who is ready to fight all the time? Who wants to exhibit courage even if it's not needed? Not a wise person, right? A warmonger is never considered wise. Did India retaliate the very next hour when Pulwama and Uri happened? India took its own sweet time and they said that we will retaliate at a time and place of our choosing, and they did. We did the same thing, right? A very wise person. Courage, display of courage every time is not a wise thing to do, according to Plato. So need to have rationality. Okay. So what you wrote the last line, for a just soul, reason controls courage and appetite. The foremost trait will control the other two traits. Reason control courage and appetite. According to Plato, self-control is a virtue. So there is one famous statement of Plato, and this was asked in your main exam 2 to 3 times. Reason will control appetite and courage. Full stop. According to Plato, self-control is a virtue. Plato gave this idea, and of course Socrates also contributed to it. Now this question, this is my tenure. I remember it anyhow. This question was asked: State is individual writ large. Have you seen this question anywhere? If you have seen the previous year papers, state is individual writ large. Writ large, you understand? WRIT, writ large. Batao kya hota hai? What is that? State is a bigger form of individual. Writ large. Yes. So write about this. State is individual writ large. Plato believes, which paragraph? The last one. From where you have missed, Santosh? God's idea of justice. According to Plato, I cannot recall the exact lines right now. The essence I can tell you. Or if someone can repeat that or type that, it will take 20 seconds. Okay, Santosh, we shall see that. You just leave 3 to 4 lines. I'll repeat it after I finish. I have to finish. Okay, I'll do that. Please change the pen and write about this statement is individual writ large. A just individual, we are seeing this answer, it is individual writ large. A just individual, what will dominate in a just individual? Reason will be dominated by reason. A just individual will be dominated by reason. After full stop. Similarly, a just state will have men full of reason ruling. Men full of reason ruling over. Men full of reason ruling over. Men full of courage and appetite. Because just individual is one who is having more reason than courage and appetite. So it will be those people who will be ruling over people with courage and appetite, because the rulers will be people with reason. Okay. Ruler over people of courage and appetite. Also, they would not interfere in each other's task. Functional specialization again. They would not interfere in each other's task. Quality of soul, reason dominates, you are a just person, most just. Functional specialization, so that speciality, expertise is achieved. These two things will be here. In state is individual literate, this is what you have to write. Now, this would result in perfect peace and harmony. This would result in perfect peace and harmony. When men of reason are ruling over men of appetite and courage, and when there is functional specialization, that is to say no one is interfering into each other's work domain, then that will lead to what? Perfect peace and harmony. Now change the para. Plato believes that the principle of justice, that is practiced at the level of the individual, can be applied at the level of state. What is possible at the level of individual will be possible at the level of state, that is individual to collective, right? Level of state. State is not coming out of a rock, which means it is not emerging from a tree or a rock or a pond or something like that. It is we individuals, people who make the state. So a state is not coming out of rock, but it's actually inherent. Inherent, deep within, already present. It's actually inherent in the mind of the people. For Plato, ethics and politics are interconnected. Why are we saying so? Why are we saying that ethics and politics are interconnected for Plato? Someone tell me. No. No, stop. Is there? No, stop. All इधर उधर का. But is there a difference in the traits of a just individual and the traits of a just state? Yes or no? Is there a difference between the traits of a just individual and traits of a just state? Sam, people make a state nahi. Just state and just individual. Do they need to do different things or practice same thing? Can we say a just person needs to follow different principle than what a just state needs to follow? No, not different. How is it different? Try to understand this. Who is just person? When reason dominates appetite and courage. What is a state? When men of reason dominate over people who are men of courage and appetite. Then how is there a difference? Both are an offshoot of domination by reason rather than appetite and courage. So that is why we say that Plato's ethics and politics is interconnected. Something, right, it will become more clear after full stop. Something that is just, something that is just for an individual is also just for the state. Acha, stop writing and tell. If everyone believes that we should be honest and truthful, right? To what extent we practice it will vary from each one of us. Everyone should be honest and truthful as an individual. I'm not, me, Kanish Shekhar, should be honest and individual and truthful. In my personal capacity, I'm not associating anything with me or me with anything. Forget my any identity. I'm just an individual and I should be honest and truthful. And think the same about you, all the students. So all of you should be honest and truthful. Tomorrow you become IAS officers, you join public services. Should you stop becoming honest and truthful? Is there a difference in your behavior, what you privately are and what you publicly should portray? Not at all. This sounds what? There should not be any difference, right? There should not be any difference. So write this. There cannot be two set of ideals. One
Can
in
you
personal
repeat
life.
it?
There should not be two set of ideals. 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 One in personal life and the other in private life. No, one in personal life and the other in public life. Suppose you are very well mannered, very what do you call it? Well mannered and very chivalrous, very presentable. And when you join a public office, should you be everything opposite to what I just said? Docile. Docile will be different. Very well groomed. So when you become officers, will you not continue to be the same? Right? So that is why state is individual writ large. What an individual is, that is what a state would be. Are you understanding it? State is a magnified form of the individual. Yes or no? So there cannot be two set of principles, one that you follow in your house and then what you follow in your office. No, not at all. You take care of your household stuffs. You cannot waste your office stuffs, can you? When I go to sleep, I put off the light of this room, the fan and whatever is working here. So when I leave my office, should I not put off the switches? The place where I sit, place where I work. So how can there be two categories, two principles, two ideals? Why? Because state is individual writ large. See what Plato is telling us. What we behave in our individual capacity and how we treat people in our individual capacity is how the character of the state would be. Because it's the individual who compose the state. They do not come from Mars and Venus, correct? So again, it focuses on, if you go deep into this philosophy, it focuses on self-reformation. That you should be what you want your country to be, what your state to be like. Okay, because it is you who will join the offices, and if the behavior is reflected, it is exhibited at personal level, it will be reflected in public life as well. Okay, now you understood what is personal is this state is individual at large. No doubts here, I guess. It's not his definition, is what I said. When individuals are supposed to act in a certain way, and the same thing will be reflected in the behavior and character of state, isn't state a magnified form of individual? You can write this line very well. When we wrote, I think you wrote this line that we cannot have two set of ideals for personal life and public life. This will automatically translate into this line that state is a magnified form of individual. It's a logical deduction. Correct, Sarath? Sarath? So this is where I'll stop today. But if we don't pay attention here, if we do not devote time here, The remaining thinker would be tough. The remaining ideologies would be tough. We have to study about idealism. We have to study about realism. So idealism comes from Plato itself. Theory of innate ideas, he will say. Mind is archetype, he says. His famous cave analogy. Aristotle will study all these things, okay? And of course, the philosopher king is there. So we'll meet tomorrow then.